Alright, so now let's solve the valid parentheses problem on LeetCode. In this problem, we're given a string s containing just the characters which are open brackets and closed brackets. And we need to determine if the input string is valid. An input string is valid if opening brackets are closed by the same type of brackets, and the open brackets are closed in the correct order, and every closed bracket has a corresponding open bracket of the same type. You can go through the examples to see what exactly they mean. But the way we're going to solve this is we're going to loop through every character in our string, in our given string, and every time we encounter a opening bracket, like this one, or like this one, or like this one, we're going to push it into a stack which we're going to create. And then every time we get a closing bracket as we're looping through, what we want to do is first we're going to check if our stack is empty. And if it's empty, then obviously we're going to return false, because what are we comparing our closing bracket to? Otherwise, if our stack isn't empty, we're going to compare our closing bracket to our opening, or our topmost open bracket in our stack, because we're going to do stack.pop, remove the topmost open bracket, and compare it to the character which we're on, which hopefully would be its closed bracket. And if that's the case, we're going to keep looping through the entire string. And if by the end we loop through every character and our stack is empty, because remember, every time we compare the character we're on to an open bracket and they match, we're doing stack.pop and we're removing it from our stack. So by the end, when we go through all our characters and our stack is empty, then we should return true. And in code, what that looks like is the following. First, we're going to create a stack of character. Let's call it STK stack equals new stack. Then we're gonna loop through our string s. So for every character c in our s.to character array, what we want to do is if c equal to an open bracket as such, or c is equal to, or basically I'm saying if c is equal to any one of these open brackets, or c is equal to where is it, braces, I think that's what that's called. Then what are we going to do? We're going to do stack dot push c, right? Okay, so that's the first step. And then else, so otherwise, if c is equal to anything else, what we're going to do is, like I said, we're going to check if our stack is empty, and if it is, or we don't need this brace. If our stack is empty, return false, and otherwise return false. Otherwise, we're going to remove the topmost element from our stack. So we're gonna create a variable called a character variable called top, which is equal to stack.pop. Now we retrieved the topmost element in our stack. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're going to compare the character which we're on, which is c, to top. So we're gonna say if c is equal to let's start with this one, and top is equal, or if and top is not equal to, sorry, okay, so now we're gonna compare the character which we're on, which is c, to top, which is the topmost element in our stack, which we removed. We're gonna say if c is equal to any one of the closing brackets, and we're gonna go step by step. So let's say, so the first condition in our if statement is going to go like this. If C is equal to the closing bracket and top is not equal to our open bracket, then return false. But obviously we need to account for all the other conditions, so we're just going to put that all in one if statement. So I'm saying if C is equal to a closing bracket and top is not equal to the opening bracket that matches it, we're going to return false. But I just want to take into account every other case. So if C is equal to the other closing bracket and top is not equal to that matching open bracket, so and then finally one more case, if C is equal to the closing braces and top is not equal to the opening matching braces of that, so then return false. Otherwise, or not otherwise, this loop is going to keep going until if everything matches as it's supposed to, then this for loop is going to terminate successfully without reaching a return false statement. So finally what we need to do is, once we close the for loop, which is right there, we're going to return is, or our stack dot is empty. This will return true if our stack is empty, meaning we went through all our cases and we every time we did stack.pop, it did match the character that we're on until the for loop was successfully terminated. And so if our stack is empty, which it should be by the end, then we return true. If there's still an open bracket within our stack, then it's going to return false. So let's submit and see if it worked. Okay, so we had two errors in our code which were very silly. We had one extra braces at the end, so I deleted that. And up here we had a space like this, and Java interpreted as two characters, the space itself and the braces, but characters can only be one unit. So those were the two errors, but after you submit that, it was accepted. And yeah, so I hope you found that video helpful, and thanks for watching.